Well, that happened quickly. It was only a couple of weeks ago where we reported on a video that they were testing ads in the start menu of Windows. Well, guess what, folks? Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Thanks for checking out this video. And of course, today we are going to follow up on the updates because in the Canary or the preview builds of Windows, what they started to test on a couple weeks ago was putting ads in the start menu. Now, we covered this a little bit as one of the subpoints in our video, Linux won't do this, but Windows will, where we talked about 5 funny things that Windows does. And yes, it was a kind of a tongue-in-cheek video. Several people in the comments saying things like, Windows will play all of my AAA title games and blah, blah, blah. That is true. We will do a video about reasons why you should stay on Windows coming up here sometime soon. It is in the works. There are legitimate reasons why a person might want to, but what we're trying to get at here is that they are pushing us slowly and slowly and slowly towards this march of death, and it's kind of crazy. And all this is going on through the constant cycle of updates that some of them are forced and some of them are optional. Now, of course, the biggest issue that we had is one of the updates that was I believe this one was the mandatory update, was breaking all currently supported version of Windows VPN connections. Now, this is something that it was hard to tell exactly which one because there was a mandatory update and an optional update that rolled out at the same time. This update is the KB5036893. And when this happened, and it's rolled out to literally every version of currently supported Windows, Windows 10, 21H2, 22H2, Windows 11, 21H2, 22H2, 23H2, Windows servers 2008, 2008 R2, 12, 12 R2, 16, 19, and 22. So what happened is there was something that they still haven't completely identified, at least at the writing of this article, which was last week's article, that was breaking the connection to VPNs for several users. Now, you can go in and roll this update back, even though it is one of the mandatory ones. But if you roll back an update, you can lock it from updating for the period of time. So that is really the best overall approach. And this is just one of many updates in the recent months, which have caused a lot of fundamental problems. But today we want to talk about some more issues. And this is with the optional update KB5036980. So this one had a minor bug in it that the first thing it would do is it would prevent you from changing your account photo, which in my opinion is fairly minor. Hey, if I'm going to have issues, I'd want my VPNs working before my account picture breaks. I don't care. But in reality, it was something about this update prevented the system from writing to the app data roaming Microsoft Windows account pictures, but you could get around that by manually putting the photo you wanted to use inside of the account pictures and then setting it from there after a reboot. So that really wasn't a problem. But what happened on this update that we wanted to talk about briefly today is that this update, which is the optional update, this is not going to automatically install, but it will show up as an update to push. What happens here is you are actually officially in production versions of Windows now getting ads pushed to you in the start menu. So we talked about this just a couple of weeks ago, and all of a sudden Microsoft is already doing it. How long before those ads that we talked about in the settings panel are going to be in the production builds? How long before this optional update becomes pulled out part of a mandatory update and they're like, people aren't updating the system until we can get our promotional bucks, so let's go ahead and roll that out to everyone, because that's the type of thing that Windows might want to do. So what they did say down here is the bug is also present. Now, what they're talking about here is there's a 5036893, which caused some people to have some serious instability issues, even so that some people had to go back over and completely restore their computer from old backups. And it caused this persistent black screen, but it wasn't every instance of this update. Some people were reporting it's both updates together, so we don't know exactly what's going on with this botched update setting. Isn't it great that they're using us, all their beta testers? We talked about this years ago, right before Windows 10 rolled out. They fired the whole QA team because all of the people using Windows are now the official beta testers. Isn't that great? Of course, there's the preview program as well. That's technically where the beta testers are, but it's volunteers using Windows, not official employees beta testing under a lot of circumstances. But outside of the issue of your computer becoming completely unstable and needing to be rebooted after you install an optional update, the other thing that would happen is it started pushing the ads into the start menu. This is just a little bit about fixing that broken picture update. And down here is where the ads are. So we talked about this. Let me see if I can open this image up a little bit bigger for you so you can actually see what's going on here. So what you see down here is now in your start menu under your recommended. So your recommended used to be apps that you used a lot or apps that were recently installed. Now they are putting apps from the store that will allow you to install it from the store instead. So, of course, they're promoting Opera browser, which is really funny because they tend to not like you to install anything other than Edge. I don't know why we're pushing CCP browsers instead of Microsoft browsers. I'm not sure. That seems a little odd. So, of course, you can give feedback on the recommendation or you can remove it from the list. But just be aware that now those ads, or what they're calling recommendations, are now appearing in the start menu. And so this is an optional update for now. Of course, how long before the optional update rolls itself into a main update? Now, what we wanted to mention here about this is that as they're looking at this progress here, Windows is pushing out a lot of these things. It's like we buy the computer, which you've paid a license fee for. You have to activate the system these days. Of course, you can use it without activating it, but you're locked into a lot of settings turned on that you might want to turn off. You don't have a lot of control over your system. Activation carries with it its benefits. But you've already paid for the system. You've activated the system. Now they want you to log in, and we talked about this on our video where we set up a Windows 11 computer and showed you why I'm not interested in it, that it wanted us to log into Google accounts and Microsoft accounts. So both of them are logged in and can collect and store the data that we do on the system. Of course, the Google was just on Edge. The Microsoft is the Windows computer at large. And so now they're trying to cram ads in every little spot. This was only 2 or 3 weeks ago we talked about the ads in the start menu. Well, just about a week after that, we talked about ads in the settings menu. How long before that is an actual update? Because some people are saying, well, this is a preview build. Yes, it is a preview build, but you can see that these preview builds do tend to roll into it. And are we going to stand by and allow it to happen? Some cases, yeah, it's just a minor annoyance. Other cases it is. I find that an ad, like a promotion in the start menu, a lot less obtrusive than the notifications. Those are absolutely inappropriate because you get a notification which makes sound, covers your desktop at a random point to say, install OneDrive, or whatever nonsense it wants to do. And of course, you're recording a video and you hear the people using Windows because, the Windows did a notification, it appears in the video. That's the kind of stuff that we don't want to do. And that is why I like Linux. Obviously, it is true. Some people have to stick to Windows for whatever reason, but Linux gives you a lot more control over your system. Like this computer here, I try not to update this except very rare times, so I don't even let the updater load. I don't even let it pop up and say, there's an update ready, because no. Of course, if I want to turn off, I think you can turn off notification sounds and things in Windows as well. Most people should consider doing that. If you're content creators using Windows, you should consider that. Because I do hear a lot of videos from time to time that you hear the Windows sounds in it when you're watching it. That's because of those notifications, and some of them are legitimate notifications, and other ones are try OneDrive. It's like, no. But Linux gives you control over your system, and it is not like some terminal command line stuff. This is my Linux desktop. You can see it has a GUI, it has a menu, I can find my applications. Everything I can do is here. If I want a terminal, I can pull one up, but I don't usually do a lot with the terminal outside of a few minor things that I find a little easier, but I have that full option. We have a full desktop. We have icons. We have the ability to do images and all sorts of other fun stuff. Linux is not something that takes a lot of difficulty to work with. It is much easier than you might think. But of course, if you are new to Linux, I do not ever recommend you take your only Windows computer, wipe it out and install Linux. You're going to have a bad day. So have a look at my playlist, and we talk about how to go ahead and get started with Linux without messing up your regular computer. I'll go ahead and link one of those videos here on the screen. With that, subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. Hit that notification button if you like being notified by things, and I'm not offended if you don't, because I don't. I just check your channel frequently just to make sure I'm not missing anything. You can also hit that like button or that dislike button if you think I'm foolish, and leave me a comment down below. Tell me how smart or dumb you think I might happen to be. With that, thank you guys for watching. Have a look at this video on the screen about the first steps to try out Linux without messing up your computer. With that, thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.